What a weekend. Very, very interesting weekend with the kind of results that I've gone through, especially the one in the Grand Classico, the other one in the English Premier League, Man City dropping points, Liverpool dropping points, Arsenal winning. I said something about Arsenal possibly winning the English Premier League this season. People felt that I was just talking and I was making just the prediction, but then it was a lot of things that I've seen from Arsenal Football Club and the quality that they could bring in terms of the quality that they are in. But on the side of the Clasico, I'll try and sing the Real Madrid anthem. Ala Madrid, Ala Madrid, Ala Madrid, Ala Madrid. Boom! Big one for Football Club Real Madrid, also for Football Club Barcelona. Big one for the Spanish La Liga. Interesting conversation. That's what has happened in the English Premier League in the game against Manchester United, Man City, and Liverpool. Does it mean good for Chelsea Football Club? We'll talk about lots of things, Arsenal's game and all of that. I think Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube, Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. So I want to subscribe to the channel now. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notification. In the notification turn and do choose all, just so anytime there is content here, you are first to have it here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube, Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Of course, like we do every day in the description of the video, the codes are available. Just come in there, pick them up, and give yourself a big chance at winning something. It's very, 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 very imperative that you go down there, you pick up the codes, enjoy some good, exciting times I was on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. And it's something awesome. And it is my job, say Debiano, will bring you the latest, the most update content I was on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. So let's get straight into it. Where do we start from? Just before we talk about our Classico, though, it's important to talk about Arsenal. It's important to talk about the English Premier League table and where it is headed to in terms of the conversation in and around the English Premier League. The drama of the Spanish La Liga, we'll talk about it. The drama of the Clasico, we'll talk about it. And what it means for Madrid, what it means for Barcelona in the lead up to the next round of games. And of course, also for the Spanish La Liga title, we are definitely going to talk about it here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. But let's start, obviously, from the English Premier League, because now, Enzo Maresca drop points, big points against Sunderland. And I remember in the post-match press conference, I mentioned, say, on the day, I think Lebris was better. I still do not agree that it was the right change to take off Joshua Kofi Champon and then bring in Tosin Adrabia. Yes, I can understand. Maybe Maresca's thought was to make sure, say, in that lead out to that part of the game, he would get a more natural ball playing centre back to open up Sunderland and get a win from them. But that did not happen. And of course, like he himself said in the post-match press conference, sometimes you win some and you lose some. When you lose some, you get criticized. When you win some, you get a lot of the plaudits. So that's exactly what happens over there for the team that is called Chelsea Football Club and Enzo Maresca and his team. And as it stands now in the English Premier League, after Manchester United's big win yesterday in the English Premier League against Brighton and Hove Albion, 3-2. What a night it was for Brian Mbeumo, Matthias Cunha, and of course Amad Diallo. Of course, I said it several times that the new goalkeeper Samuel Amez seems to be giving Manchester United a lot of confidence in everything that they do. The confidence to control games, the confidence to be dominant in everything that they do. He seems to be giving it to them. Right now, if you go and you look at the English Premier League table, it is clear. It is Arsenal who is on top with 22 points. Bournemouth are behind them with 18 points over there. Chelsea missed a big opportunity to go third in the English Premier League. They are there. Sunderland are there with 17 points. Man City 16 points. Man United 16 points. Of course, Liverpool 15 points. Chelsea and the likes are on 14 points as it stands now. Big results today in the English Premier League, and the kind of job that, of course, Andoni Areola is doing now. Bournemouth has been super. But then first off is the job that yesterday Ruben Amorim led Manchester United to go and do. I did mention that when you look at Ruben Amorim in the lead up to the game, he was essentially under not so much pressure because for the very first time in his tenure, he had won 2 games in a row. He had not done 3. And it was something that a lot of Manchester United fans was okay. It's going to be difficult for Ruben Amorim to win 3 games in a row, but let's see what he was going to be able to do. They went into that game against Brighton and Hove Albion, and 2 early goals gave them the strength. That right-hand side of Brian Mbeumo and then Amad Diallo seems to be working excellently well for team and friend of Manchester United. It was such an excellent setup for Manchester United and Amad Diallo, dictating the pace of the game, controlling the game in itself, and then having total transitional threat. And I've said it several times. So we a team now who depending so much on having loads on the ball in play against Manchester United, and you don't have a good press and counter press in place, Manchester United will most likely tear you apart under Ruben Amorim. And now he has the lethal quality in transitions. When you look at Mbeumo and the likes, a lot of quality in transitions, and then they get a job done. When you look at the quality that they come with over there, and that is very, very important over there. So it means that as it stands on the English Premier League table, Manchester United are fit. I know it's from Enra. People kept on saying that Richardo will fry you alive. I mean, because Chelsea were able to win. And that is true, because I thought yesterday was a difficult game. Almost everybody that previewed the game said that, see, Chelsea needs to be very careful of Sunderland, because there are some good threats from set pieces, threats from open play. And I must say, Enra, I said, the game largely was controlled by, Chelsea. They had loads on the ball. But then Sunderland always looked like there was a threat and you could smell something. Although this season, if you look at stats, Chelsea has scored more goals in the Premier League than anybody. This season, nobody has scored more goals than Chelsea in the Premier League. And this is a Chelsea without Cole Palmer, a Chelsea largely without Liam Delap. And for me, I'm actually pleasantly surprised about Enzo Maresca, as I said over there. The big problem of Chelsea is in the defense. It's the difference of those silly mistakes that gets done and all of that. If Chelsea can put that past them, then that's going to be right. And now, after the game, Enzo Maresca spoke and he said that, Charlie, for him, it's really about the mistake that he did and he needs to move on from there. It's very important how things will be able to go on. For me, the biggest issue, whenever Chelsea lose, just try as much as you can to go to Vince's page. I promise it will save you from a head loss. Of course, like I said several times, Chelsea's biggest issue, and the loss is down to the quality that's in defense. If there isn't that quality in defense, for me, that is why Chelsea lost. And yesterday for one, you look at the role of Tosin Adrabia in that winning goal for Torium for Sunderland. If you look at that role of Trevor Chalobah in that goal again, what Chelsea could have done, what they didn't do in all of those instances. If you have a quality centre back, I said it several times, even in times where Chelsea are trying to break down low blocks, if Chelsea have the quality of Levi Cole, he breaks them down easily for you. He definitely will get those things done for you. But that is absent from the team, and Enzo Maresca needs to find ways. I'm not worried. I don't think that any Chelsea fan should be worried when it comes to be the issue of playing up from the back or Chelsea. Chelsea are not in a bad place at all. It's essentially the lack of those players. Once Chelsea able to solve the problem of getting quality, physical, imposing centre backs at the team to beat, Maresca has been saying for a couple of weeks now that he's carrying an injury. Of course, is yet and is trying to help the team. I've criticized players, of course. I've said several times that Joao Pedro wasn't his best time yesterday, but then, oh boy, what a performance from Joshua Kofi Champon. If Chelsea gets Levi Cole fit, the centre back pair, the right centre back issue should just be between Wesley Fofana and then a Champon. It's just Wesley Fofana and a Champon. But the starting centre back pair should be Joshua Champon and then Levi Cole. That is perfect. One very good ball carrier. Then the Champon is excellent in terms of ball carrying. Let's pick up the ball and step into midfield. There are times where he roughs off defenders, carries the ball forward. And yesterday, he even played on the left-hand channel. The quality of Joshua Champon, if you don't see it, then I'm sorry for you. That is pure quality, pure ability to break down teams over there. Just a 19-year-old boy that gets the job done. And Chelsea essentially, like I said yesterday, need to get Liam Delap back. They need to get them back and make sure that they'll be able to go in there and get a job. There's something that the goal scorer for Sunderland said about Chelsea in the game against them, and I think that's very interesting. He said that former Premier League referee said the goal against Chelsea was an offside. Mark Kukere said it's really tough one to take, and we are very disappointed. We need to improve with these matches. I think we need to learn to manage games better. We scored early. I think that is true. If in the Premier League is tough. So if you're able to score one goal, you should be good at the management of the goal. How do you score one and then prevent the opponent from scoring? It is Very, very important if you're able to do that. So that is something that Chelsea should be able to do. It's really tough one to take. We are very disappointed, of course. We need to improve with the match management. That is something that Chelsea should be able to do and then do better, of course, at least according to Mark Cucurella in that regard. Like I said, Arsenal Football Club have been able to go top of the English Premier League, which is very, very, very interesting part. Like I said several times, I've said it for a very, very long time, that I believe strongly that when it comes to the English Premier League, Arsenal this season are obviously going to lose it, are going to win it because of the quality that they possess our team, and they've done enough to do it. And being solid, the team have conceded less, scoring from set plays. Arsenal scored 11 goals from set plays. I mean, I think 2 more than Chelsea. It tells you the quality of the team. And for me, I've said Arsenal will go on and win. Manchester City went away again to Villa Park and then lost it again against team of your friend Aston Villa. They lost it badly against Aston Villa. Very, very good performance from Morgan Rogers, dictating the pace of the game. The Premier League is still widely open for almost everybody. Bournemouth are in there, Sunderland are in there, Manchester United are in there. It's very, very interesting. Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and not got into the place where they want to get to. It's a big opportunity for Arsenal to go into it and get a win as they have to again get it done. It's important for them to go and finalize and get a job done when it comes to going to play in games like that. It's very, very important. Mikel Arteta, assistants now. Arsenal have won all 5 of their games across all competitions in October without conceding a single goal. 2-0 against Olympiacos, 2-0 against West Ham, 1-0 against Fulham, 4-0 against Atletico Madrid, 1-0 against Crystal Palace. I mean, what a team. And it's not as if they are not scoring. They are also scoring. That is a strong team for Mikel Arteta. He has been excellent in terms of the management of the team, the results that he's getting from the team. I think Mikel Arteta has been very, very brilliant in that regard. Very, very brilliant, when it comes to the job that Arsenal are doing our English Premier League game this season. You give them lots of the credits, loads of the credits. I mean, across every phase of play, that is quality display. And then it took Abrantia, your friend, Eberechi Eze, who got that all-important goal from Arsenal Football Club. Right in the midst of it, when Arsenal needed to get a goal, it came from nobody than Abrantia friend Eberechi Eze. Solid. He made sure that he slotted it in there from a set play. I mean, he got a job done. When it comes to Eberechi, the quality of play that Eberechi was putting up in the team, he was brilliant. He was excellent. I mean, in all phases of play for Arsenal, for the Arsenal top of the English Premier League. Man City drop points over there, and on the other side, it's important, of course. Before the Grand Classico, I think that the league table, Hansi Flick position, the fact that he wasn't going to be at the dugout, and then the fact that Lamine Yamal had gone on and said that there was going to be, he thinks that Madrid want to just cheat and they don't particularly do anything. It sets the tone for it. And to be very honest, from the get-go, that was exactly what was happening in the game. You could tell, Senna, Real Madrid fans were very much annoyed by what Abrantia friend Lamine Yamal went on to go and say. So everything that Lamine was saying, everything that Lamine was doing in the media, Madrid essentially put it to themselves, said it was going to come down to they stopping Lamine on the field of play. So from the blast to the west of Vinicius Jr., where up and down. Remember when the starting lineup came? I think I was surprised pleasantly by Branty friend Xabi Alonso. He really surprised me by the starting lineup for the buy. Because I remember in the pre-match analysis, one of the things that I was brooding about, and he said, if you are Xabi Alonso, do you start Federico Valverde and then you play Franco Mastantuano, or what are you going to do? And I like the fact that people kept on saying that Franco Mastantuano is not really one of the, I mean, he is not part of the new school. One player, results as much. He hasn't played the Classico as much. He's just a young boy from Argentina who has come and is playing well, right? Which is good. So people kept on saying that, okay, how do you start Franco Mastantuano? When I saw Xabi Alonso starting lineup and it was Eduardo Camavinga rather centrally, I was impressed. Because in the pre-match analysis, I think I'd forgotten even about Eduardo Camavinga. I'd forgotten that Eduardo Camavinga was very, very important in such a game like this, and he had come back from injury. So what Xabi Alonso did was smart. On that right-hand side, it was Federico Valverde and Eduardo Camavinga. Knowing that they wanted to deal with Marcus Rashford and all of those rotations of Barcelona. So Eduardo Camavinga will constantly go to the right-hand side as a right winger, but add defensive support to Federico Valverde, especially when he drops centrally, so that Eduardo Camavinga can go back and go and defend Alejandro Balde or Marcus Rashford when they try to overload that place. For me, that was a smart move from Xabi Alonso, to be able to have such a game plan, to be able to understand that this is what needs to be done in a big game like this. For me, that was spot on. That was really, really spot on from Football Club Real Madrid over there. It was one of the best ways in going into the game. Understanding that this is what we have to do. Let us put in Eduardo Camavinga was smart, because it means that almost every time the ball went into the middle of the park, Eduardo Camavinga became a +1 in the middle of the park. And I kept on saying that the only way Madrid can win that battle against Pedri and then Frankie de Jong on the ball is to dominate the midfield. Is to have an extra player in the middle. It's to constantly have an extra midfielder that's willing to work hard for the team, that's willing to do that job. It was a smart one for Football Club Real Madrid in that regard. And I wasn't surprised that the first ball was floated, and then Abrante friend Vinicius Jr. was able to go and win a penalty for them. Yes, that penalty was chalked off because of a foul in the build-up. But then again, it sets the tone for the game. Barcelona, we all knew that there were a lot of issues in terms of the players that are going to come on. Ferran Torres managed to start last minute over there. There was another one on the other side when it comes to Marcus Rashford, where he was going to play. It was important how the game was going to go into it, the growth of the game, how the game was going to transition. It was very, very important for Football Club Real Madrid to go into it, and go into it with the mindset that they went into it. When Jude Bellingham's penalty was chalked off, the next major incident was a goal that was scored by Abrante friend Mbabbe, but it was ruled out for offside. And again, it came from deep in an area where Madrid were probing. And again, another deep ball to beat the high line of Team Friend Football Club Barcelona. In the first instance, obviously, that did not work. But then later on in the game, you could tell, so, okay, the referee overturned that penalty, that was caused by Lamine Yamal. But then that close offside call on Kylian Mbabbe. But then look at that technique that Mbabbe used to score the goal from there. And that told you the quality. For me, I said it several times, the quality of Real Madrid is important. Now, the game goes on. There's a point where Kylian Mbabbe is just dropping central. It looked as if he had worked very much on how to breach the high line of Football Club Barcelona. And it looked as if the conclusion was deep late runs from deep. It looked like that was the plan that Madrid went into the game with. Say, if we can really break down their high line, then we should be able to get deep runs, because that was the only way we'll be able to break the high line. Because if you look at the run of Mbabbe and where he was coming from, deep for him to play through and then find the ball from there and then slot it at the back of the net. We said it several times. Say, if you have Mbabbe 1v1 for most parts of the game, he will deliver. When you give Mbabbe 1v1 most parts of the game, if you give him 6 out of 7 times, 6 out of 7 times, he delivers. That is what Mbabbe does when it comes to times like this. He will obviously deliver. It doesn't even take much for him to deliver. And that's exactly what Kylian Mbabbe done. Very good assist from Jude Bellingham. And you see, that quality play, that setup, that balance from Real Madrid, for me, is the best thing. They have the best balance. And like I said, Xabi Alonso is doing the simple things. He's not overdoing a lot of things. He's just doing smart, simple, straightforward, basic things. Put this player here, put that player there. Turn this around, do this, do that. And let the team work hard for each other. That's excellent pass from Jude Bellingham. Made excellent one from there. And of course, look at the quality of Mbabbe over there, the goal that he was able to score. Of course, from there, Pedri was trying to pull up the play. That assist from Abrante friend Femi Lopez did come up as well. And I kept on asking myself, is it going to be like last season where Madrid gets the lead, Barcelona equalizes, and Barcelona go on to win the game? And it was really, really, really boring, because that was a possibility, right? Especially looking at how the game ended up. Like, it was a possibility. And in the first half, 2 goals until the latter parts of the half, where Madrid end up gets Jude Bellingham on the score sheet. See, everybody that's spoken about Jude Bellingham has gone on to talk about the fact that that personality of his fits games like this, imposing, physical, box crashing, and then a personality that really embodies what Madrid stands for. I mean, walks it with shoulder high, doesn't care who anybody is. He can go into games and then deliver. That is exactly what Jude Bellingham offers to that football club Real Madrid team. That's exactly what he was able to do. When Madrid knew that they needed to do work, they did the work with Jude Bellingham. When Madrid knew that they had to manage the game, they managed the game as they had to do that. And for me, that was excellent. At halftime, it's 2-1. Barcelona did not look like they had options. They didn't look like they had it in them to come and get the equalizer again and get a win when it comes to the game. And in the second half, when you look at almost all the substitutions that could have been possibly been made, the question that you're asking is that why not Hansi Dieter Flick at the neighbor? But I felt that, okay, one thing that Barca had to solve was that intensity of the press and that physicality. How intense can they be? Can they go into the game and be intense enough to go and get the job and then deliver it from there? It wasn't going to happen. I mean, it was definitely not going to happen in that regard. There were times where Barcelona had a lot of chances as well. Chances where Marcus Rashford went close, Femi Lopez went close, had Rashford to his right and Lamine Yamal, but they decided not to pass to any of them. It was very, very funny. In the second half, just when the penalty came in, Jude Bellingham winning side penalty, and that's very, very tight place for himself. VAR went to check. It was a penalty. It was really a penalty. I don't know. Just when the penalty call came, I don't know whether Barca fans felt like it was a time for Abrante Efreno and Ronald Araujo to come on, because that game called for Araujo. The physicality of the game, the leadership at the back really called for Araujo. But see, the thing is that inside game, one of the things that Hansi Dieter Flick probably was looking out for was the ability of his team to control the game with the ball, playing out from the back and then being dominant in that regard. There was something that maybe Hansi Dieter Flick really wanted to get from his team and he wasn't getting. I mean, then everybody was watching the game probably will say that, okay, this game misses Lamine, it misses Rafinha. Barcelona being played off the back by Madrid. Of course, I mean, this is a game where Barcelona were literally being controlled. They were bossed around. They were dominated. Madrid showed Barcelona that last season you beat them 4-0. Maybe that was because of our inability to get balance in the team, but we are way better than you. Madrid showed them that they were totally beating them. In fact, throughout the first half, it was all Football Club Barcelona. There were patches where Madrid, it was all Madrid. There were patches where Barcelona got some chance to really impose themselves in the game. But then, if you look at the first half, it wasn't good. I mean, Lamine, Mo performance, Femi Lopez, Koundé, Pedri, Kubasi, it was just total control, total drop, total dominance by Football Club Real Madrid. And again, on the bench, were you going to bring in Rooney Badji or Drew or Tony Fernandez? I didn't think that Madrid had enough quality on the bench to come in, to come and change the game for them. I didn't think so. I think that it was always going to be difficult for them. And Lamine Yamal should provide more defensive support for Koundé. We are making it way too easy for Madrid in that 2v1. Of course, in that area, like I said, if Vini will drop back and help the team, and then Lamine doesn't come, then that is the difference. That is the game that makes the difference. In the first half, Madrid dominated possession, just a few ball possession, but then they were up there. I mean, in the top when it comes to Football Club Real Madrid, and Madrid were really, really on top of it all. You just could not take anything away from them. I was very, very surprised that Mbabbe got a penalty and he missed this. I thought that for Kylian Mbabbe, in games like this where there's a penalty, he has to deliver, he has to score. And Mbabbe missed the chance to increase his tally. That was Spanish La Liga. And this is a game where Mbabbe really should have scored. He should have made it. He should have made it 3-1 at that point in time. Vini came close. Jude Bellingham scored at some point in time. It was an offside. And you see, Xabi Alonso is smart there. Xabi Alonso realizes the importance of the number 10 or more. Yes, one more will cover as central midfielders to do the job in Federico Valverde, in Jude Bellingham, in Aurelien Tchouameni, in Eduardo Camavinga. All those positions, they play different positions now. He has given them cover. But he realizes that the most important thing that he has to do is to make sure that all of these number 10s, when one person is tired, the other person comes on to come and create and work hard for the team. And the change of Arda Güler to bring on Brahim Diaz was smart in that regard, because you want to make sure that at this point in time, building a team where you can now have somebody that comes in to come and change the game a little bit, to come and tweak things a little bit. And that's exactly the job that Abantia, your friend Xabi Alonso, wanted to get in that changes that he did, to bring on Arda Güler, and then to come and to bring off Arda Güler and then bring in Brahim Diaz, for Brahim Diaz to keep on working for the team, because that was absolutely important for them. Because if you bring in Brahim Diaz to come in and work for the team, what it means is that you are now going to get a player who comes in and then helps you in that regard. Get a player who comes in and helps you deliver in that regard. For me, that was smart. That was very, very smart from Xabi Alonso in terms of that substitution that he was able to do. Federico Valverde on the right-hand side was solid. I liked the aggression. See, before this game, people felt that Alvaro Carreras could not hold his own, and people were not giving him credit for it. And I said several times, Alvaro Carreras really dealt with Lamine Yamal. He sorted the Lamine Yamal issue on that wing. It was just easy peasy for himself. Say he will be able to clear out the Lamine Yamal conversation and then deal with Abantia friend Lamine Yamal in almost every phase of play. And I think he did it. I think Abantia friend Alvaro Carreras was brilliant in that regard. He was absolutely on point in that regard for him to, stay in the game as long as he has to, and then make sure he stops Abantia friend Lamine Yamal. At some point in time, it was really a game that was calling for Lamine Yamal to step up. It was really a game where Lamine Yamal really had to step up, and people were asking questions. Where is Lamine Yamal? Can he step up? Can he really make the difference from them? And Madrid are much more dangerous. The final third. Rashford seems like he's only an attacker who picks up good positions. Lamine is strangely passive 1v1, but it almost feels like he is injured and can't sprint. Pedri with some good initiatives. However, we need more, of course. That is what the issues were when it came to the halftime. See, Madrid were dominant. Madrid were absolutely dominant. That's harsh. Not much on Eric Garcia can do, of course, when he talks about the penalty. Of course, justice came for Football Club Barcelona when Mbabbe could not score. There's simply much power in Vinicius and Mbabbe's steps compared to the attackers. I think that Madrid just wanted it more than night. On nights like this, I think with everything that happened before the game, in between the game, all of the things that were said and unsaid, it just looked like a night that was going to be for Madrid. And for me, Madrid showed how they want to do their things. I would definitely dislike him if I was a Madrid fan, but there's something about taking back against a club that harasses referees through the official TV channels before games and boycotts of the Ballon d'Or simply because they didn't get their way, convince their player was entirely a trophy. Of course, for me, I didn't think that it was important for Lamine Yamal to go on that rampage and be talking about things like that. I think that there were a lot of things that Lamine Yamal probably could have spoken about, a lot of things that Lamine Yamal probably could have done, and not particularly do that over there. But then again, it was a game where Madrid were just gymnasts. Madrid was just, dominant in that regard in terms of the quality of play that they were coming in with. And there was no way Barca were going to be better than them. There wasn't a single phase of play where they were going to be better than them. Arsenal, when it comes to the games that were there, it was obviously going to be a straightforward game where Madrid had to get a job done. Madrid has to, show that they were better, show that they wanted it most, and they did exactly that. To be able to do that was such a super thing for Football Club Real Madrid over there. The quality of play for me was one of the best that you could get from there. We'll see how things are going to go when it comes to Football Club Real Madrid. But then, it was a night for Madrid. They showed that they wanted to be good. You can't even say there were people who were, you can't